actually thinks we did it. We got people in the chat already, so that's a good sign.
Paul's already in there.
Yeah, yeah. Jason,
Record.
local dude, Jason's here. Record's here. Tom's here.
So many people just ready to hang out.
Yep. Jason, if you're still here, I got your Holmes motor today. It's on the counter here, so swing in whenever and get that. Ashley's here. How's it going? Yeah, so we're home from a long weekend at Crawlapalooza.
To say the least.
Yes, I'm still tired. That's a long drive. Took me about 12 hours to get home. I left there at 6 a.m. I got home at 6:30 p.m., but there's an hour time change, so it was 11 and a half hours in the Jeep, which was a bad decision.
Yeah, I think the Jeep looked nice though. I haven't seen that thing yet. I think it looks pretty nice.
It was definitely the vehicle to have while I was there.
Yeah.
But driving there and back wasn't the smartest thing. So today I brought it to the shop and I got all the crap unloaded and I cleaned it out and I parked it in the yard and I drove my truck back here tonight. The Jeep is going to stay parked for a couple of weeks probably because I don't want to put another mile on that driver's seat for a little bit. Yeah. Yep, we did. Both of us made it home safely.
Yeah, we hear. I think I got back at around 9. I was like, I'm going straight to bed, and then like I got the dog out of the truck. I looked at the mud on his blanket that I have covering the seats, and then I pulled that out, and I was like, well, I'll just take these bags out too. And then I was like, well, that only leaves tables, truck. So anyway, everything got into my place, and then I ended up putting everything away, and then I swept everything. Yeah, I was up till like 11.
Yeah. Can't feel your butt. Is that what you're saying? More my lower back than my butt.
You got the seat heaters in that? I didn't ask.
No, it doesn't have seat heaters in the Jeep. They do in the truck. Yeah. I started regretting my decision driving the Jeep less than 45 minutes in.
So you didn't even quite make the Indianapolis.
No, I was still an hour and 15 minutes from Indianapolis before I was thinking about going back home and getting the truck. Yes, the Metal Masher took a little bit of a beating on Saturday after I was done with my comps. The bed is pretty wrecked and the front fenders are pretty wrecked, and I'm not nice to this truck. Anytime I drive this truck, I'm not nice to this truck. So it doesn't take much to do that. So yeah. Took 12 hours to get home in the RV and we dipped out Saturday. Yeah, I left at 6 a.m. Saturday morning when I woke up. Didn't destroy the Jeep while on the trails at Crawlapalooza. No. I did take the Jeep. I did take the Jeep out and play a little bit. I wasn't hard on it at all because 12-hour drive home. I did pull up on the waterfall and I got the front end up there, and I probably could have got the Jeep up it with a little bump or a little bit more wheel speed, but long drive home.
You tried a little more than I would have if I were in predicament.
Yeah. The issue with that waterfall obstacle is where I had the Jeep up to. If you let it spin the tires too much and it slides the driver's side down, you can't back down out of there because there's a big hole in the driver's side. There's like another little step of the waterfall, and if the back end of the vehicle goes all the way over there, your only option is up. And there was really nothing. There was no vehicles up there to winch off of, so we would have had to try to get Wes up to the top to winch me up, and I wasn't about to hook my winch to a Lexus and let him have the pride of winching a Jeep up an obstacle.
I've been serious, but I still got picks.
Yeah. Yep. Oh well.
Probably would have taken me 40 minutes to go around the normal people way and get to you.
Yeah, it would have taken a minute.
My that's how my exit was Sunday. I was like, I'm not gonna take the road back. I'm gonna go through the spillway. But
Hmm.
I didn't do the route. I wanted to avoid that water we crossed when I followed you originally,
Hmm.
which in turn made me go through a deeper water section, where
Yeah,
I could kind of
on
get
the
some
further.
momentum. Yeah. The
Yep.
Yeah, anyway, I popped the passenger tire up on the sledge, and my driver's side, it was getting deep, so I clunked the skid plate, and then the driver's front tire caught up, and I climbed out of that. But I don't know how deep it was. It was kind of deep. It was a little more deep than what I care to put electronic stuff in.
Yeah, me and Schumann, when I was taking Schumann around, we dropped off a different ledge. I took him the same route that we went,
Hmm.
but I dropped off a different ledge to go down into the first little water crossing creek thing, and it was taller than I thought it was, and we definitely got the transfer case skid pretty good. It landed on the skid hard enough that we both went, "Oh, that was a skid plate."
Yeah,
I didn't crawl under there to look to see if it even dented or anything, but it sure as hell sounded like it did. So,
yeah.
but yeah.
That I was like, I'll leave at noon and I'll be on the road by 12:30. I was inspecting damages at I think it was about 1. So it took me an hour to get out of that spillway.
Yeah.
Uh, but it's all good.
Yes, the old adage, "You have to drive it home, stupid," was in the back of my head the whole time. But it was
Uh,
cool. I got to take our Hawaiian team drivers around for a little bit of a ride, and then, I showed Schumann around on Saturday a little bit, so that was cool. Um, got to drive the Metal Masher. I did not go on the night run. So what happened there was, I was gonna drive this on the night run, and when I plugged a battery into it, and I clicked the button to turn on the lights, the whole thing went up in smoke. What had actually happened was one of the LED panel wires got pinched between the body and the frame when this shenanigan happened in the back of the truck, and it
nice.
shorted it out, and so it burned up the ESC, the receiver, and the winch or the light controller all at the same time, all with one poof of smoke. So, and then I did not have either of my SCX6 batteries. I had my batteries for my Techno, but I did not have my SCX6 batteries, and they take different connectors. So I did not end up going out on that run. So I hung out, packed up my canopy, and hung out with Austin's dad and Hibner and his wife. Hibby was plugging in his batteries for his SCX6, which are also different than mine. And he went to steer, and the servo horn fell off it. He had lost the screw for his servo horn and did not have another one, so he was out.
We're very prepared.
Yeah.
Yeah, it seemed like there was like two parties heading out. Half the people, I feel like it wasn't that hot, but I feel like the comp still kind of drained a lot of people because I think a third of us drove and a third of us walked, and then 2/3 of us
Drove down
drove
there.
down there.
Yeah.
Um,
I thought about driving down there.
which we stayed pretty close to where people drove. We didn't venture out too far. I think about the same places we hit up last year.
Yeah.
So really, you don't have to go too far to
No.
have a good time. So it's
No, not
funny that
really.
some of the pics I got, it looks like some tiny trucks on the moon.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think we're out there. I don't know what time we got back. Maybe like 12, 12:30. No, it might have been later than that.
It had to be later than that because I went
Yeah,
into the cabin about 12:30. So
yeah, it might have
knowing
been.
knowing that I needed to leave early in the morning, I went in about 12:30.
Yeah, I saw you weren't there. And then when I got back, I saw the canopy packed up, and I was like, "Oh, I was actually pretty smart."
Yeah,
Because I don't, I wouldn't have wanted to wake up at 5:30, pack an awning up in the dark, and
yeah,
then not just a normal awning. That's the
yeah,
was it 12 by 20 or something.
yeah. It's a big girl. So yeah,
So I
can't
can't
believe
blame you,
how
right?
long it took to get through the trail classes. Just felt stupid long. Yeah, they should have done the two judges and two drivers per course, but the courses were pretty congested, or pretty. The gates were pretty close to each other, so you would have been trying to step over each other on Saturday if they would have, or on Friday if they would have tried to have two judges and two trucks on course like they did Class Two.
Class two was
But
zipping, man. I think that was the fastest I've ever
yeah,
been through.
yeah, that was great. But yeah, we the in the we I don't remember which course it was. Was it course one on Friday? The last course that we ran,
Yeah, they had them.
dude. Our trucks didn't move for 2.5 hours. It was just judge after judge after judge after judge jumping in line in front of us. Like I literally sat there for 2.5 hours, and the same amount of trucks were in front of me, and I never left the line. Like it's not like people were walking up and just throwing their shit in front of it. It was just that there were judge after judge after judge, like six or eight of them in a row came and ran their trucks, which was, I mean, I get it. They need to run too, but also like spread yourselves out. Like
Yeah.
run one of you, and then let a regular sorry person run, and then and then another
there,
judge, and then a regular person.
there probably could be one, like a rule to where one judge can uh, get in front of you, and then
Yeah,
something like that.
yeah, whatever. I mean, everybody got through everything, but
Yeah,
it is what it is.
I forgot to get you
Uh,
some of these.
yeah, but it's okay because I forgot your wheels too. So
call, call it even.
yeah, it was so
Sorry.
discouraging. I didn't even run my classes on Saturday. Went 1-to-1 instead. That's unfortunate to hear because Saturday did go very smooth and very quickly. Um, I was I think I started my first course at what would you say? Probably 10 o'clock.
Yeah, well, I mean, we're never like the first ones down there by any means.
No,
So
and we were done by 1 o'clock.
yeah, so we're
So
and our group was how many trucks did we run through on our group? 10,
yeah,
11?
nine,
I don't know.
like
We had
nine or 10. Yeah,
so 9 or 10 trucks through all three courses in 2.5 hours.
yeah.
Pretty good.
How would you rate this year versus past? Never been, but always curious how the courses are laid out and if the area gets used. Um, Class one courses. Well, I'll get to how I feel about the overall event here in a little bit, but Class one courses were exponentially more difficult this year than they were last year.
By far.
Last Yes, last year I did not pull winch line a single time in any class that I ran. This year I've definitely pulled line in class one, which I'm not complaining. I absolutely like the harder courses. Cool. It shouldn't just be a time event because last year there were a lot of perfect scores on all three courses, and it came down to like time, which that shouldn't be.
Seconds, I think.
Yes. So, class two courses, I would say probably were, I don't know, 5 to 10% harder than last year, but not enough harder to make me go, man, that was hard. My issue was that I hadn't driven my class two truck since last year at crawlapalooza. So it had been a whole year since I touched that truck, and it showed. My second course, my second course, I had a flawless run up until I went through gate 9, and I decided to go do a bonus before I went to 10, and then my truck took about a, I don't know, 50, 60 foot tumble down the hill into the water upside down.
I was
Uh,
wondering how me and Austin caught up. I'm like, wait, we gotta pause for Brett. I'm like, what was Brett doing?
yeah, my truck took a 3-hour tour. Was
DT.
the weather good? Absolutely, the weather was fantastic. 80 degrees and sunny all weekend long. Not a cloud in the sky during the day. It was great. Um, was that by design, or do you think the trucks have gotten better? The courses had to be more difficult to keep up with current trends. No, I don't think that. I don't think that that had a whole lot to do with it. It just Jonathan likes to try to push one class's abilities every year. Last year, he tried to push the class three stuff a little bit and the SCX6 stuff last year. And then this year, he said he wanted to push the class ones. So, and he did. He did a good job. My complaint about the courses were that they were very, very similar to what they had just gotten done running at Apex, to the point where the paint marks were still on the rocks and everybody was questioning whether this belongs with this course or not, because they were setting gates on the same paint marks, but there were boundaries that didn't belong to this event, but they have belonged to Apex. So that was a little bit annoying, because it's like, okay, so these guys already practiced these courses basically.
Essentially.
Um, but yeah. Oh well. Overall event, I think I think it can be done a whole lot better. I think Jonathan might have dropped the ball a little bit as far as actually he dropped the ball a lot a bit as far as event promotion and stuff like that. As far as how smooth the event ran smooth. It was fine, but he definitely dropped the ball for promotion and sponsorship reasons and things like that.
Yeah, some of the stuff we talked about. I, I'd say overall. So if you're like family atmosphere and fun, good. You can tell it's ran by people who are in the hobby and do this all the time, because it ran pretty smooth. But I do think maybe I don't, I don't know if maybe there's if it's a bit much. I don't know what goes on behind the scenes, but possibly could do benefit from like a just a light maybe finding like a cheap promoter. I know a few. I've met a few. I don't know what the cost or anything is, but it wouldn't take much, and that place would. Because this was probably what? How do you feel the turnout was? Maybe average or a little less?
Uh,
I don't think it was as much as last year.
no, I don't think it was as big as last year. I didn't see any of the class three stuff because it was in the other part of the other spillway. So I don't know what the car count was for class three.
I ran
There
up there
were
for a minute and didn't see too many.
yeah.
But
So I don't know what the car count was for that. I didn't watch any of the SCX 24 stuff, and I only caught like 2 SCX6 runs. So
yeah,
he limits tickets every year though. So you can't really say that, because every year there's a limited thing. So was there
yeah, I
anyone out there
would.
with a new Red Cat truck? I did see a couple of them. I didn't see any of them on course, but I did see Carl from Crawler Canyon had at least one or two in the back of his truck, and I did see it out on the rocks. I didn't walk over to pay attention to it, but I did see it from afar that there was one out on the rocks.
Um, Gary had
44.
one. Gary had one from 110th. I actually kind of had held it. It's pretty decent. I would say there's obvious. I mean, for the price, I don't think you could really go wrong. But where I'm at with RTRs now is like it's great, but when you break it or like how soon can you get something? What are the upgrades? Are the is the bolt pattern for the because that has a forward motor mount and all that stuff. Is all that stuff easily like can I switch it out to something? Is the frame gonna hold maybe a TGH forward motor mount, or do I have to drill holes, or
Yeah.
at what point? Because I always just if you're swapping stuff around, I just build from scratch. Axles are
Well,
VP axles are 200 and some change. A
yeah,
frame and
but the nice thing is with it is you can get into if you think this is something you want to try, you can
yeah,
get in at a reasonably low entry point, but you have to manage your expectations
right.
because of what you spent. I've got 2 grand in my class one truck or 2 grand in my class two
Mhm.
truck, and you're showing up with a $300 truck. The chances are you're not going to win. Like, you might do really well, but chances are you're not going to win.
Yeah. No, I'm definitely on you there because I mean, you could tweak the right height, throw some sticky tires on there, and probably do pretty decent.
Yeah,
But
I watched.
if my money was in a comp right away, I'd be tossed in the electronics
Well,
unless I knew that all that was proven because
I
I want to
watched
be mid
Harley's
towards.
video. I watched Harley's video about it earlier, and he said the servo is strong enough, but it's not fast. But he did complain about lack of drag brake and lack of low speed control. So yeah, motor and ESC at the very minimum. Yeah, 44 drivers in C3, 100 drivers in C2, and 62 drivers in C1. So I'm curious what the actual driver count was because a lot of people run 2 or 3 classes. So um,
Yeah.
I thought there were 100 spots available in each class, and if that is the case, class one and class three numbers are terrible. For as much of a stink as he was making about people showing up and registering on site instead of pre-registering, if there were 100 spots in each of those classes, there should not have been that much stink made about it.
I would, man, honestly, I would search for a promoter and I would bump tickets up to 200 a class,
Yeah,
200 people, because that that area has a lot of potential, and if it can hold some, I mean, if they can host Ultra 4 and like the big meet run for all the people that come in for that area,
yep,
if you got the judges, I mean, most of us are already there for 4 days.
yep. You might as well
It'd
run
be
it Thursday through Sunday.
it could be crazy, but like I said, I don't know how much they want to get into, or just the
Um,
venue's so cool.
it is, and as much as we're sound like we're complaining about this right now, I had an absolutely amazing time.
Had
And to
had
answer
honestly
your
time.
question, checkered past, it is a must-do event for us because of the group of people. Um, every crawler event, you play with tiny trucks on the rocks, so that's cool. But the group of people that we end up with down there are all good people. And that's what it's all about, is having fun with your buddies on the rocks, talking shit and playing with tiny trucks, right?
Yeah,
So, yeah.
I think I can be abrasive to some of our drivers, but they know that's the only time of year that I see them, so
Mhm.
let it fly. The what
Uh,
else?
s Spec class would be good for those, or it wouldn't be a bad idea for those. The problem with a spec class is we're cheaters.
Also, the rules, if you think that comps might be a thing you're into, this is the comp to go to because the rules
The
are
rule
so relaxed.
Yes, there basically are no rules other than,
It
a
was it
couple of
six scale
scale
points?
points. I think it
Have a
was 7,
have a
but yeah.
front bumper sticking out in front of the grill.
Yeah. Um,
Yeah,
but
I
yeah,
would.
again, it's about managing expectations. If you think you're gonna pull a truck out of the box and win a comp with it, I'm sorry, but you probably won't. There are very few people that could, uh, put a good effort into it, and, I'm not one of those people, so I will say I did spend quite a bit of trigger time with my Ford Ice, and so did Schumann. And Tim from TRD Adventures whipped it around a little bit, and I'm very pleased with that truck. It could be the Midwest Southeast version of Proline by the Fire as far as go-to events, since the hype matters. Well, that's the problem is they didn't hype this event up at all. They made one post about the event in August until a week before the event. And then they made one post per sponsor thanking the sponsors. Now, to be a sponsor for the event could cost anywhere between a couple $100 and a couple $1,000. And I'm sorry, but the title sponsor for this event, Crawler Canyon, got absolutely fucked with event promotion. And every day they moved tech and registration down to on the rocks, so there was no one at the vendor area
That's yeah,
until after 5 p.m.
right. Carl didn't. Yeah, it's not like you're gonna pull that trailer down that. By the way, it's
No,
not a chance.
we could have got the trailer down, but getting it back up would have been a freight train. Noticed quite a few angled skids in C1. Was not expecting that. I did not notice this. I didn't see a single angled skid C1, but I wasn't looking either. So
Yeah, I wasn't looking. I haven't really ran through my picks yet. But like I was saying, build like when people ask what chassis they should get, I just tell them get with your local rule sets. What are you going to? What comps? Because if that's the one you go to a year, and there's nothing about not having a angle skid in C1, go tear it up, man. Take advantage.
yeah,
Um,
absolutely. There was nothing. There was. I don't think there was anything posted about that. So I'm curious, and I think the only place the rules are now is on Facebook. So I'm gonna check real quick.
yeah, because the site's taken down now.
That was the other weird thing. A week, 2 weeks before the event, they shut the site off. Literally turned it off. Like you can't even find it, which is super super strange. Why is this not loading? Face Space says you don't have the bandwidth for this. Come on, what the hell? But yeah, I'd definitely be curious if there were I'm not even gonna be able to find it. I am curious if there were angled skids in class one because that would be interesting. That's what I mean. If they did more to market it better, it could have the same type of hype if you marketed it better. Absolutely. The other event that really could be a hell of a lot better than it is Axial Fest Badlands. If if they and I know it's not what they do, but if there was a comp involved at the same time, even maybe I think a lot of us would bring our comp trucks out too. But I don't know. I don't know if they would actually do that or not. But
I wonder if that group, I wonder if if that group really is into the comp scene,
I don't know.
or why it would just have to show up and be like, "All right, guys, this is how you
Yeah,
do
this is what we're doing today.
it." The Wyatt boot camp.
Yeah. Yep. Exactly. They would have to be axial trucks. Yeah. I mean, rules don't say anything about skids. Interesting. I bet the rules don't say anything about only the driver can touch the truck either. But I'm gonna leave that alone for a minute.
Yeah, I missed that whole thing.
So what happened was when my truck went like 60 feet, we'll call it 60 feet, down to the water, it tumbled probably 8 to 10 times down the face of the rocks and it landed upside down in running water at the bottom of the hill. Chris Schumann was my stick man, was my winch stick guy. And by the time the truck stopped rolling, he was already halfway down the hill, which was super cool. He didn't have to like launch himself down the rocks to go chasing after my truck.
By the way, there's water and moss on that rock face.
Yes, it's all water, it's all moss. So
Liability.
once the truck stopped, it was upside down in the water at the bottom, and I had the judge pause time, which the judge was Dave Shreve, CBE driver. So we have a CBE driver as my judge, and we have an owner from Team Garage Hack as my winch stick guy. So two competitors to me. So if you want to talk about an unbiased run, that's about as unbiased as you can get, right? Anyway, Schumann runs down, grabs my truck, brings it back up, put it on the ground, um, and Schumann held my truck on the ground. And I steered it left and right to make sure it steered, and I throttled forward and throttled backwards. Now, the truck was on the ground, and Schumann was holding it. And someone complained that I was trying to clean off the tires. Now, mind you, there is moss hanging from the truck, and there is water dripping out of the body, and the tires are still dripping wet. Like, it was in the water. And it got put back on course at gate 9, which was a repo, because I had progressed gate 9. I left gate 9, went to the bonus, and whatever. So someone took issue with the fact that I spun the tires on the rocks. Okay, whatever. But the truck was still dripping wet. So this gentleman decided to bring it up to the judge that that was against the rules or whatever, which it ain't in the rules. And he accused the judge of being on my team, and the judge walked away, and then he went and the gentleman went and talked to Baskins about it. And before I was even, as I was getting ready to start my next course, Jonathan comes up to me and goes, "Hey, we need to have a conversation." I'm like, "All right, well, I can unplug or you can wait 6 minutes till I'm done with this run." So he waited. And he decided to assess an additional touch penalty because Chris is the one that grabbed my truck, not me. Um, Apparently, at Crawlapalooza, your stickman is not a teammate. Your stickman is a tree. So a tree cannot touch your truck. If you're on course driving and you drive into your stickman, that's a touch. Okay, I get it. I understand. But also, really? It's not in the rules. So, I mean, what's the difference whether Schumann ran down and grabbed it out of the water or I ran down and grabbed it out of the water? It's still a repo. The truck was still dripping wet. I still hit the bonus gate, but I did progress it. But the truck tumbled 60 feet down into the water. But yes, function check, whatever. And the guy was being very petty. But this gentleman has a history of being pretty petty. So, uh, at any rate, I was assessed an additional touch penalty. I told Baskins to go ahead and DQ me for the course, but he decided that that was a little extreme and decided just to add an additional touch penalty to it. Which, whatever. I was heated about it at the time. I guess I really wasn't even heated about it because I was still out having fun with all my buddies. So it's a whatever. But it kept going in the back of my mind, like, really, this dude's gonna complain that that someone else touched my truck or that I spun the tires after it just went 60 fucking feet down the rock face into the water. Like, can you cry anymore? Apparently, this guy was super worried about me beating him. He may or may not have won Class 2, so he must have seen my flawless run up to that point and got a little worried that I might be a contender, which I wasn't if he'd have seen my first course. But yeah, it was pretty petty.
Yeah, stuff like that. That takes my vibe out of it. I'm like, look, dude, whatever, man. If you got a big issue like that,
Yeah,
I don't want to know what your home life's like, bud.
yeah, he got super big mad about someone else touching my truck on course, and it wasn't even on course; it was off course, about 60 freaking feet. So
I'd be sad seeing any truck go that far, and I'd just be more worried about making sure it's not damaged. I mean, I
yeah,
don't
which
know.
I can go grab it. It didn't really do a whole lot of damage to it. It really could have been a whole lot worse. Oh. quickly. You went black on us.
Oh,
Hey, there you go.
sweet. Am I back? I'm back.
You're back. You went black for a minute. I thought I just lost audio, but then you disappeared.
Yeah. So, what'd you blunder on course one?
Well, again, this was the first time that I plugged this truck in since last crawlapalooza. So, when I set this truck up with the new radio, I set up my class 1 truck, and then I just copied my class 1 truck settings to my class 2 profile, and the steering endpoints were way different. So I only had like 40 degrees of steering out of this thing instead of 55 or 58 that I'm used to. So it took 2 gates of learning before I realized how
Looked like a SCX 10 Honcho.
yeah, it was bad. Yeah. So anyway, the only thing that really happened to it was the tailgate broke loose. You kind of see it's all waving in the breeze there. The bedside broke free from
Ooh, that's the
the inside
carbon
of the
board,
bed.
huh?
Yeah, this body's full carbon, so but the bedsides are individual pieces, and the tailgate is individual pieces, and the
Oh,
drop bed is an individual piece. So it really just popped the epoxy apart. So
gotcha.
I can just go back through and re-epoxy it. And I asked Jeff Chesney, who's the one who built this body, what epoxy to use, and he sent me a link at lunchtime today about it. So I'm gonna order that
Nice.
either tonight or tomorrow, and I'll get this fixed back up. So realistically, just a couple of popped panels in the bed. I didn't lose any scale items. My duck's still in the bed. My driver, my skeleton driver. Let me see if I can. My skeleton driver is
You got
rather.
ejected? You think?
He's broken.
Oh.
We broke his waist. So
Which
he's just
bone? Which bone was broken?
well, it's his spine.
Oh,
It's his spine.
spinal.
Yes.
His back is broken.
Yes.
Spinal.
Spinal. Yeah.
Spinal.
Class 1 truck, I don't believe. Well, I cracked the 3D printed drop bed, but otherwise, I don't think there's any damage to that. So,
Yeah, good deal. The my course one, I got 2 or 3 gates in, and I looked up at Austin. I was like, it's feeling pretty slow. I was like, man, that better not be battery. And I got to this, I think the 7th gate, and it was like, whoosh. And I was like, dude, are you kidding me? First course of the day, and had a dud battery.
so
What a
here's a
dud.
that's a rookie move right there.
That was so
Um,
bad.
so I just wiped the inside of the A pillar here, and
Yeah.
I just dropped it on my computer. There is still moss, chunks of moss inside the body. Um, trying to click any buttons on the laptop. There are chunks of moss still inside the body here.
Nice.
But yeah, it was about 2/3 submerged at the bottom of the hill. Not even comp, but when I'm with my buddies and I crawl, I just hate to see a buddy's truck take a tumble. If I can keep it from falling further, I try to catch it. Yeah. Definitely got screwed on course 1 trail because of a couple things I didn't understand. ESC cut out, so chalk it up to lesson learned. One judge, trail course 2 was not cool though. Gave me same issues right after he gave one of your team drivers issues. I don't remember. I don't know who that was.
I don't exactly remember who's on which course.
Yeah. In soccer, you let the ball go out of bounds. When a crawler is rolling IMO, you try to stop it before it hits the water if possible. Agreed. If there wasn't, it's a catch-22 because you shouldn't interfere in the course, but at the same time, these aren't $50 toys. there's a couple of $1,000 here. Just the carbon fiber body alone is, for $400. So, um, watching it tumble 60 feet down to the water was a little difficult, but
Yeah.
I tried to keep my spirits up about it because there's nothing that you can do about it after it starts tumbling, and being upset or being mad about it after the fact isn't going to do you any good. So, um, but what really pissed me off was somebody being petty after that. Like, bro, you just watched my truck roll 60 feet. You're going to cry about who touched it. I'm just, I'm just happy it still functioned.
Right.
It didn't have any, bent or broken axles, no bent or broken links or rod ends. I saw people break rod ends on course, and mine tumbled 60 feet and didn't break a rod end.
Yeah, I actually
So
saw that happen a couple times. I was like, trying to figure out what links they're running. One, who had the set screw links? That was the most
that
obvious.
that was Theron.
That's right.
Yeah,
There, what you got that stuff for? Come on,
yeah.
man.
It was a time discrepancy and repo issue because the judge didn't give progress and said nothing until after the next gate. I forgot the driver's name. No, that wasn't. It was so. What happened with the issue that you're talking about was Jake Ferkel, and what happened was he progressed a gate and rolled down, and while the truck was rolling down, the lid popped off of his cooler in the back of the truck. And the judge didn't say anything. I saw the cooler lid. Jake saw the cooler lid. The judge saw the cooler lid. Nobody said anything. Judge went up, or Jake went up to go to the bonus line, and when he got to the bonus line, the judge said, basically that he's out of spec. So he stopped time, and they went and got Jonathan, and Jonathan explained that no, because the cooler is still in the bed. That was the scale point. The cooler is the scale point, not the lid. So there wasn't technically there wasn't any time discrepancy, and there wasn't any course discrepancy. It was just whether if Jonathan would have said yes, your truck is out of spec, then there would have been a time discrepancy and a vehicle position discrepancy that we would have had to deal with. Um, but because Jonathan said no, the cooler is the scale point, not the lid. Truck's fine; it's in spec. We had stopped time, so there wasn't an issue. And actually, Jake ended up with the best score of the day on that course. That he got an award for that. So I found that pretty humorous that there was a discussion that had to have Jonathan involved in it, and he still got the best score of the day on that course out of everybody.
That'll work.
Yeah. It was
Yeah.
later in the day after the NSDRC gal. Yeah, so she caused an issue. Well, she didn't cause an issue. She caused a hullabaloo with me also. In class one, I hit. There was a gate that was a side hill gate, and then there was another gate below it, further down the hill. And I touched the top gate, and then rolled my truck, and it hit the second gate, and then it hit both of the gates below the truck. So I got 4 gate penalties and 1 rollover. And I was going to. We stopped time because I needed to get down there. She said she basically was said to repo the truck to the last progressed gate, and I was like, "Well, a repo or a rollover is less points than a repo, so I'm just going to roll it over. When I touch the truck, just start the time." And she says, "Well, I was just going to give you the repo." I'm like, "Well, if you're going to give me the repo, I picked the truck up, I put it where I wanted it, and kept on going." Well, people saw that and got mad, and I was talking to Theron about this on messengers. The scorecard's not the place for sympathy, but and then looking back at it, I should have probably made it a point and just said, no, we're doing this the right way, and this is what we're doing. But at the time, she's going to give me a repo. Jonathan said multiple times, or it was said multiple times in the driver's meeting, that it's judge's discretion, and that was her discretion. She made that decision, and I took advantage of it. So should I have taken advantage of it? Probably not. Did I? Yep. Like, whatever. I don't know. But like I said, the scorecard isn't placed for sympathy. So if she if she was willing to give me someone she has no idea who I am, she was willing to give me a free repo, what else did she not count on other people's scores? You know what I mean?
Right, right.
Or and not even necessarily her, but any judge, if they're using, their discretion to, yeah, you barely bumped the trigger in reverse, like Theron said. Uh, I'm not going to count that. You didn't mean to bump that, or whatever. I couldn't tell if that was progress or not. I wasn't looking, so I'm just going to give you the benefit of doubt and say it was progress when clearly everybody else around says no, it wasn't progress. Whatever.
If it were like a scale nationals, I could see some of the outrage or some of the magnifying glasses out on the courses, but
Yeah. Tim drug his battery for half a course and wasn't out of spec. That's because the rules stated that the electronics can't be visible from the top. Battery was hanging out below his truck, not the side of his truck, not the top of his truck, the bottom of his truck. The rules are too loose and they're still complaining. Yeah, the rules are very, very
dude,
loose.
that's where I'm Paul. That's where I'm at. I'm like, yo, y'all need to like chill out. I mean, I know maybe like a 9 a.m. beer's not typical, but I think somebody needs something to take the edge off because some of them
Yeah.
people, man, just chill out, bro.
And I get it. Like, I drove a long way to get to that event, and I paid good money to enter that event. But we had guys that flew from Hawaii to get there. Those guys spent thousands of dollars to be at that event, and people still complained about the rules. So
The I think where I start to lose interest is like how many rules have changed in like the last I think I've been going to that for 7 or 8 years. I think there's been like four different minor things that have changed in the rule set.
very
So
minor, though.
so when I go to like the drivers meeting and it lasts more than 5 minutes, I'm like, I'm gonna go back and I'm gonna go to the truck and like get my batteries. I'm people are getting too crazy.
Well, people start asking very specific questions because they've made up a scenario in their head, whether it's a scenario to purposely try to cheat, or whether it's a scenario that um, they think could possibly happen and they want the answer to, is one thing. But I feel like a lot of the time it's because they're trying to get a very specific answer for a very specific scenario that they're going to create on course.
And everyone knows it. It's not
Yeah,
subtle. You know what you're doing, you know who you are, and everyone can see it.
yeah,
So just plug in, leave it to the judge's discretion, and be okay with the outcome.
yeah.
I
Like
don't
you said,
know.
if this were Nats, it's a different thing. It is, but at the same time, it costs the same amount of money as going to nationals, and it was the same amount of drive for me as going to nationals. So, basically, it was nationals with loose rules because there was no nationals this year. So, I mean, a competition's a competition. There's a rule set, and you got to stick to the rule set. But their rule set is so lax that there's a lot of gray area in it. But then they want to, complain about it, like the person uh, throwing a car through a gate and calling it progress as a touch. Uh, did that happen?
I've not seen that. I would I'd be like, hold on, let me get a picture. Because that a picture of that might beat Jason May's crane operator award. Did anybody comment if you've seen it? Did anybody see my crane operator pic of Jason through that bonus gate on the fan page?
That was a pretty good one.
We're like, I don't know what you're doing, but it's pretty funny. And I just
I
felt
don't know what
bad
he was
for
trying. I mean, I know what he was trying to do. He was trying to
oh,
get the back end. He was trying to get the back end of the truck to swing over, but he was hooked on the roof of the truck. You're not
your
going to get the
pivot
back end. You're not
your
going to get the
pivot's the
back end of the
middle.
truck. Yeah, not going to get the back end of the
Um
truck to swing over when you're winching straight up off the roof.
He needed to do what that I think you were with me with the one person that wrapped around the back, like under the like tail light. There's
Yeah.
no winch point or anything. He just
Yep.
knew it would pull it enough. And I was
Yep.
like, ooh, that's actually pretty smart.
Yeah.
But yeah, Jason went full helicopter lift on the truck.
Yeah. Yeah. They were promoting the fun of the hobby. Let's face it. No one got rich off crawlapalooza. No, nobody got rich off crawlapalooza. I mean, it would be naive to say that the promoters didn't make any money because you know,
Their time's worth something.
yeah, their time is worth something. They have to get paid, and I'm not upset about that at all. Nobody got rich. Absolutely no. No one got rich. But they did get paid for their
The
time.
campground got rich.
Campground made some good money. Um,
That what was it Dion? That dude's cool. Dion or is it Dion? Who's the dude at T-Mobile?
the property maintenance guy.
Yeah.
I don't remember what his name is,
I
but
think it's Dion. Anyway,
I
that
don't know.
dude's cool.
He's a good dude. I think.
He did you see oh no, so for the TTC, Dana had one part where C1 was, and then he had the mud bog or tank trap, I believe is what they call it. He had that in the back side of the hill. Um, I'm not sure if it's Little Blue or whatnot, but anyway, that dude had his uh, Grand Cherokee, whatever that damn thing is, and he
Yeah.
was his Dana was like, unless you got a side by side, he's like, I don't advise you driving up and down that hill. So that dude was escorting people to and from over that hill for just for the tank trap portion of that comp, which I thought was pretty cool.
Hmm.
So the dude at Two Moms is pretty cool.
Yeah. Man, as far as scoring, oh yeah, yeah. If you won your competition, you got a plaque. So yeah, nobody got rich winning the comp. So it's different than a large 8 scale pro event where the entry is hundreds and there are 500 plus competitors. Well, the entry was hundreds. I mean, it cost me $180 to run 2 classes. So I mean, it's kind of or $150, whatever it was, 150, 180, something like that. I don't remember. I think it was 180 for the cabin thing. I think it was 150 to comp. But regardless, I mean, it wasn't a free event, that's for sure. I'm not that I'm complaining about the price at all, but
This guy made it out pretty good, I feel.
yeah, I've got a couple of spots that got some rash on the tops of the fenders and hood and roof from my tumble, but otherwise my wraps held up pretty good.
Yeah, I'll take some scrapes. Actually, I didn't account for tire rub there, but thanks to the wrap, I now know I got tire rub right there.
I was just looking at the same thing. So like you can see the white right along
Yeah,
the edge,
yeah, I
and
got
same thing on this side, just a
yeah.
little bit.
That was actually this is all from all this damage. I think I got a couple scrapes on the C2 or modified courses, but I think most of the damage and scrapes was the night run. 100% as usual fashion.
Yeah.
Um
Theron
oh
says
there
looks even
was
better in person.
do what?
Theron said it looks better in person.
Yeah, yeah, no, it's a cool truck. It was so that was the first time. Course one was the first time I think I drove this.
And you put a
Uh,
dead battery in it.
with yeah. So the drivetrain's an old truck, but the frame, body, and everything else is all new. So it was pretty planted for being what it is. I felt on the modified courses. Um, I had Austin stick for me because he's pretty chill. I think we both are just nobody's like hyping or no one's like rushing each other. So I
Yeah.
like when he sticks for me, and I think he was trying to get me a couple times to loop around or take a different line, but I was like, man, I think it'll stay planted on some of those side hills, and it paid off because it stuck. It was planted a lot.
Which of you won concourse with those sexy wraps? Ha ha ha. Actually, I didn't have my wrapped truck in the concourse. I had my metal masher in there, and I didn't win dick.
Um,
Wesley didn't win either.
yeah, I even had the lights. I was like 10 feet away, and when somebody would walk by, I would turn my lights on and off, and then on and off, because they weren't too dim. If you were near that truck or if it was facing you, I do apologize.
Yeah.
But I was trying. I was playing with people. It was kind of funny.
Yeah. I do need to give a shout out to the Minnesota guys though. Yes, the Deluxe Fab guys did very well this weekend with their trucks. They showed up prepared and it showed. Uh, they cleaned up pretty well in class 2 and I think in class 3. Yeah, definitely. And JJ brought me a set of shocks for one of my trucks, and they worked out very well. I put them on today and started driving a little bit today. Which, if you're in the fan page, you'll see that picture. But started playing with an old project a little bit, trying to finish it up. And Tim from TRD Adventures brought me a set of Vanquish VXT2s to crawlapalooza for an upcoming build. And I ordered a set of Vanquish wheels for them.
Nice.
Yes, I know I make wheels and I ordered wheels, but I wanted these specific orange 310s. So
I'm beginning to think I need to order wheels.
you could. You could. Yeah, I'm going to have to reprint my drop bed because it broke. I think what happened was the battery connector got in between the frame and the bottom of the drop bed. And it pushed up on the bottom of the bed because it's cracked up. Did you plug it in? So I had just unplugged the battery when I took that picture, but yeah, so it drove to where it's currently sitting. Jason just likes to poke the bear a little bit. Yeah, I did drive it up there. It did climb my waterfall, my Hibby Falls waterfall in the shop.
What's
It's
that?
kind of the truck I posted a picture of in the
yeah.
fan page. My Crawlapalooza sticker keeps coming off.
Ooh,
Oh man.
You know what I'm gonna miss from Disney?
What? I brought a case home. They're on the counter over there. They're not cold right now though, so I'm not even gonna try to drink one.
I opened up the cooler and I was like, nice.
The only thing that was left in my cooler was a couple of bottles of water and a non-alcoholic beer that Schumann had.
Which, for those who didn't see, it's hard Mountain Dew. Now, I'm not like a dew head. All right, I'm not. But that's the only. Where else is there hard Mountain Dew? Does anybody know? I've not seen it.
They don't have it around here.
I've went up the western states, not found this stuff except for maybe Oklahoma, or just is it just? It's not just Disney, obviously, but is that like a Missouri, Oklahoma area thing, or I don't know.
Yeah.
The quest continues. All I know is, as soon as I go there, the local convenience store has 3 cases, and we kind of end up buying them all.
Yeah.
Tennessee, all right, it's up there. Okay.
Minnesota and Tennessee. Are wheels in production? Wheels should be in production.
Do they just skip Indiana? What's going on?
Apparently, yeah. Wheels should be in production this week, probably. I have everything to do it, and the machine runs now. So, and I have the batch of Banshee parts done. So I have no excuses now other than lazy or busy with other things. But yeah,
Speaking of lazy, I feel guilty. I think I have like 2 or 3 pending orders I did not get to today, but
I've
I'll
got
be
like I've got like 9 or 10. So
yeah.
which I manufactured a bunch of them today. They're on the shelf or they're on the counter all packed up. They'll go with the UPS man first thing tomorrow. So I haven't printed labels for that stuff yet because I don't print labels until I'm ready to ship. So,
Yeah.
but
If you
I
got a
did
label,
manufacture everything.
it's going out within 24 hours.
Yeah. Any plans to make 2.2 wheels? I have a couple of 2.2s designed. I haven't actually prototyped any 2.2 wheels, but I do have some designed. It's it's on the list, just not at the top of the list. I've got a couple brazen builds going that need wheels. Yeah, well, they've been in production a while. They were. I made these pieces. I've got 5 bins of these. I made these. It's been a couple of months now, but then the machine was down for like 6 weeks, and then I had a backlog of parts to make for another vendor. So
Sounding like if you build it, they will buy it.
I think I'm going to do anodizing though. So you'll have to wait for anodizing. And I'm going to pick the colors. And if you don't like the colors, sorry. But I don't think I'm
Comments
going
are
to do
gonna get angry.
yeah, don't think I'm going to do any raw wheels this time. I think they will all go to anodizing.
You should do black, but then throw them back in the machine to do that. Was that beveled edge?
The chamfers around it.
Yeah.
I could have the entire face anodized and then cut the pattern and the chamfers so that
That'd be kind of sick. Yeah.
inside the spokes and inside the chamfers would all be raw. That's not a bad idea. I could probably do that. I have an outrunner in my Oracle, and I'm getting some cogging. 32 versus 48 pitch gearing, and why? I don't think gearing's causing your cogging, or I don't think the pitch of gears is causing your cogging. It would either be the gearing itself or the tuning in the ESC. Also, outrunners are not sensored motors, so if you're trying to start them up too slow with the wrong tune in the ESC, they'll cog. Was told I should go to 48 from 32. I need a different pinion. Yeah, you would if you switch the spur gear to a 48 pitch spur gear, you would have to switch the pinion to a 48 pitch pinion. But the tooth count is going to be drastically different. So if you have a 56 tooth spur gear on it now and you go to 48 pitch, you're not going to order a 56 tooth. You're going to order like an 86 tooth or something. I don't know what the actual ratio is, but the tooth count is going to be way higher on a 48 pitch gear than a 32. Silent Assassin. I would get a hold of them because I've seen a lot of guys running outrunners on the Silent Assassin and it being very smooth. So I would assume that it's got to be some sort of a setting issue or binding issue.
I would take the motor out, spin your wheel, see if it gives you any feedback.
Yeah. Yeah. Make sure the truck rolls smoothly even just take the pinion off.
Yeah.
Make sure the truck rolls smoothly without the without the motor connected, and then go from there. But yeah, I'd say it's probably a setting issue. I can grab. I'm not gonna do it on camera, but I could grab my little Capra with the HK Hobbies ESC and a Holmes Outrunner and show you how smooth and slow that starts up. But I would lean toward a setting issue.
Yeah, because I mean that's what like 14 magnets on those outrunners.
I think so.
I mean that should be pretty smooth.
Yeah.
I can spin mine, but I got the Holmes ESC. I can read the font as the can turns. That's how
Yeah.
slow that thing can go. So
Yeah. What
granted,
wheels
you
were
have
you
to look at
putting?
the tires to even see them moving.
Yes.
I took a
What wheels
video
were
of
you
it because I
putting
thought it
together a few
was.
streams ago that the rig was half inch or so really narrow? Those were super shafty 2.2s that I was trying to build for a class 3 truck. They were like half inch wide. Yeah. Super shafties. Brood 1600 and wondering if it's too low. No, that's not too low. I've got a Holmes 1900 that starts super smooth. So, but yeah, you like you said, you've taken video, and it's hard. It's hard to see how slow.
Yeah,
It
I
looks like slow motion.
I took a video of the jelly bean. I was like, I'm gonna put it on the Instagram like story or make a reel. And then I watched it later on and I was like, this is dumb. you
It's
have
so
to like
slow.
you have to watch the fender and look at a tread like slowly creep. And I'm like, all right,
Yeah,
this is gonna be like a 40-second video and I'm not even gonna do a quarter rotation of a tire.
yeah, yeah. It happens.
So not at all. That thing should be cogging. It's electrical or it's mechanical binding.
Yeah. Good evening, Steve. How's it going? But yeah, so overall event was great. Overall, the drive there and back was uneventful. It was fine. The 11 miles to the gallon in the Jeep was not ideal, but made it there and back with no issues. Drove around the park with no issues, other than my transfer case shift cable popped off once, and it never popped off again the rest of the weekend. So I don't know what
Oh
that was
yeah,
all
I
about.
took that picture.
Yeah. Well, I put the Jeep in four-wheel drive to back up to the cabin to unload my shit, and then I shifted it back into two-wheel drive when I pulled down off the hill, and it shifted into two-wheel drive normally, and then when we were out on the rocks, I went to shift it into four-wheel drive, and, like, nothing happened, just the shifter just flopped. I'm like, "Oh, that's real cool." Thankfully, the shifter wasn't or the cable wasn't broken, it just popped off of the lever.
Yeah,
There's,
I
like, a
think
little plastic tab that holds it.
I'll probably delete that picture because the moment I post it, my little switch will break because that's how
Uh-huh,
karma works. Like,
uh-huh.
oh, making fun of your mechanical lever, which honestly everyone's always jealous of mechanical. Oh, I want like 6 levers. Give me 6 levers and the
Yep,
Lexus of this little switch.
yeah. Also not immediate and usually happens after 5 to 10 minutes of run. Power cycles and seems to correct itself. Just annoying. That's strange. Could be a temperature related thing, but you would think that that just cycling the power wouldn't affect that. If the ESC's, at a thermal cutoff or something, just turning it off and back on wouldn't reduce the heat enough to stop that from happening. So that's strange. But that leads me even more to say that it's probably an ESC issue, whether it be a setting issue or something internal in the ESC. But I'm not an electronics engineer, and I'm not an ESC expert either. So nor have I ran a Silent Assassin, but I'm pretty sure there's a Silent Assassin fan page or a group of some kind. So I would
Yeah.
probably just check with one of those, and see what you can come up with. Just got to say, out of all the rigs I've built, the 23 high low is my absolute favorite chassis for a cheater style rig. There were quite a few people doing very well on course with high lows this weekend. That was
The
good to see.
I I saw a couple gates where if you didn't have a forward skid, you really had to chuck that rig through there, and you're probably honestly pulling line.
Yeah. I will say though, I did not have a single gate where I hung up on my Class 1 or Class 2 trucks. So with my C1 Pros. But that's because they're, a short overall height chassis. But I did see a lot of people get hung up on very specific gates where I was thinking to myself, "Oh man, that gate's gonna suck." And
Yeah.
then, I drove right over it, and then I saw, you drive right over it. I'm like, okay, it's just, it's because our chassis are short rise.
Yeah, I was gung ho about going before Austin because we both had a high low. Mine's lengthened for the body, but the same underneath.
Yeah,
But I was like, all right, so he has just a cab. So I was like, if my truck can pull over something, his truck definitely could pull over it. And if my truck kind of wanted to do it, his truck definitely would pull over, being just a cab. So it was
yeah,
kind of worked that into the dynamic, I guess you could call it.
yeah. The course where on Class 2 where I went on the lake tour, you went right in front of me. You went right before me, and I was watching some of your run. I was thinking of, I'm watching, I'm trying to strategize, but then other people are talking. I'm trying to get plugged in, so I really only watched the first like three gates, and you
Which are
didn't
kind of
do,
uneventful.
yeah, but you didn't do that first bonus,
No,
and I had watched the guy before you, the two guys before you, winch up that. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna
that's what I
try
was.
it. But if it bellies out and it starts to wiggle, I'm just gonna winch up it. I got the front end up it and just drove into it, and it went right
Dang.
up. And then the rest of the team that I winch sticked for after me, I made all them do it, and it, same thing, get the front end up, and it just right over it.
Yeah,
So,
I was
but
erring more on the side of I just want to finish the course. And after my battery
well,
blunder, I was like, I'm out.
well, so I wasn't gonna do that last bonus because it was such a
That
a
one was pretty
sketchy
weird.
exit, the sketchy exit out of the bonus gate. So I wasn't gonna do it. But when I got through gate 9,
With
I
like
still
two
had like,
minutes.
yeah, I still had like
Yeah,
2 minutes left. I'm like, okay, shit. All right, I gotta go. I gotta at least try it.
yeah.
And much to my dismay, that was
I
bad news
think
bears.
I think if I had maybe a 4S, I don't think I had the willpower to not just go front over down
I
the
think
hill
I
exiting
think that
that.
was part of my problem was it exited and you had to like drive down that ledge
Yeah,
down to a level. And when I hit that level, I let off the throttle, I think probably too much, and the drag brake just sent it over forwards off the edge, and then it just tumbled all the way down. So
bummer.
I still I should have listened to my gut. I should have just finished the course because I had a flawless run. No gates, no reverses.
Tons of
Pulled the
time.
bonus, pulled the first bonus, had tons of time. I'm like, all right, fuck it, I'm going for that last bonus gate. But whatever. Is it narrow so it changes the tire's performance? Well, it can change the tire's performance. There's a few things that a narrow wheel can do. Um, it sucks the sidewalls of the tire in, which wraps the tread around the tire more. So you get the square lugs on the side of the tire. You'll actually get them down the sidewall of the tire, so that helps with some side bite too. Also, you compress the foams a lot harder, and so that makes the tire or the sidewalls less compliant. That makes them a little stiffer, while still keeping the centers of the tire soft. Um, it also, with the tire being or with the wheel being narrow and the tire being narrow, you don't have to make the truck as wide to still get full steering without getting into your links and shocks, because the width is taken off the backside of the wheel. So there's a whole bunch of things that it does by having a narrow wheel.
I would same thing when people ask about tires and stuff. I would just see what your local guys are running,
Yeah,
and if they're running stuff like that, note how wide. Because some of those on some of those gates, I was like, I'm just gonna take a gate because they were pretty curious. And the trucks that I was seeing go through those gates had a wide front and a narrower rear axle. I was noting all that stuff and choosing my lines, um, which I needed all the help I could get.
Yeah. Now, I will say in class 2, the only course that I really paid attention to was the first course we ran of the day, which I think was actually course 3.
Yeah, yeah,
Um, I watched 5 or 6 people complete that course before I ran it. The other 2 courses I went into virtually blind.
I
The
kind of
last
threw your truck in line, to be honest. I was like, everyone's chit chatting. I was like, hey, I'm gonna throw some line.
Yeah, and that's fine. I didn't have an issue with it. In fact, I think I probably did better, going into it blind than trying to have a strategy in my head because sometimes watching somebody do it, you get an idea into your head and then it just flat out doesn't work.
the
So,
the second course, me and Austin were both like together, and we're like, all right, go here, and then here, and then as soon as I go through the first gate, I was like, all right, where's gate two, gate two, and we're
it's
like,
immediately
oh
to your
man, we
right.
just forgot everything. We're even. I was like, never mind, we're just playing around now.
Yeah.
Everything just went out the window.
Yep, exactly. See the
It
guy that
was
has the
fun.
gnarly orange buggy. Is who the guy with the gnarly orange buggy? I'm lost.
Was
But yeah, it was like I said, overall super cool. Oh, I do need to fix something on my class 2 truck. Um, and I don't remember who saw it happen. I think it was probably Josh Hibner saw it. I finished my last gate on my last course of the day. I completed gate 10, and after gate 10 there was a little ledge up to the top level of the rock that we were standing at, and my truck would not move. It just sat there, and the slipper pads just decided that they didn't want to hold anymore. So the slipper was just slippering.
hmm.
So I need to replace the I need to just do a lockout and get rid of the slipper pads, but it's on a TGH Ford motor mount, so I need to grab a spur gear lockout for that. I think I have one
The
here
billet
somewhere.
piece.
Yeah, a little build aluminum piece. If I don't have one, I'll order one, or I can make one because I have the file for it. But because I fixed a bunch of them for him that their other machinist did wrong. Didn't do wrong, just was in a hurry and didn't get them quite right. But performance
Oh,
anxiety, yeah, exactly.
which reminds me, shout out to Chris, man. I was like, I need to find a fair lead for the winch, and Chris pulled one out of his glove box, and he said we'd score up on it later. I don't know. So
I need
uh,
to I need
Chris
to
is
get
a
with
cool
JJ.
dude to hang out with. If you're trying to spice up your weekend, that's the dude you want to hang around.
It's a spicy weekend. The
Spice it
the
up.
camp the campground owner or something like that. Oh no, so different campground. You're thinking of Hogan from Hogan's Off Road or Hogan's Off Road Park or Hogan's Off Road Campground or whatever. He's got a bunch of weird shit. No, we were talking about the property, like the property maintenance manager guy. He's got a clapped out gold Grand Cherokee.
Yeah. Which one man might say clapped out, the other is just, well, I might say it's an evolved Disney vehicle.
It is. I mean, it got him everywhere he needed to go. So,
That thing, yeah.
where did Chris end up cooking his fish? Chris ended up cooking his fish at the campground, at our campsite on a open fire. There was the one fire pit had like uh, a grill slat thing that you could adjust, and somebody had tinfoil, so he ended up cooking it on the tinfoil, which actually it was pretty good. I will say it turned out pretty
That,
good.
yeah,
I was leery about fish that Chris
yes.
caught in Cabo and took to Colorado and then
And
brought
then
to Oklahoma,
Disney, Ohio.
Disney, Oklahoma. Yeah, I was
Disney, Ohio, yeah.
a little leery about fish that made that far of a trip. But I didn't end up with food poisoning, and it tasted good.
It was pretty dang good.
Um,
I thought he was making up ingredients. He's like, I'm gonna get pistachios and he's like,
and brown sugar.
do they have pistachios around here? And I'm like, yes, I'm pretty sure they have pistachios around here.
Pistachios and brown sugar.
And I was like, this guy's making up stuff. And then lo and behold, that first nibble on that fish, I was like, all right, this is good. It's good.
So
Nice work.
I do have something because Chris.
Was it the fish?
No,
It's
it's
the
more
other 80
expensive.
pounds.
It's more expensive than fish. It's something that he told me weighed 5 pounds, and I didn't believe him when he told me it weighed 5 pounds. So I weighed it today, and it's 6 pounds. But I have Chris's Class 2 truck because Chris's Class 2 truck was in my Jeep when I left.
Let me get those wheels.
These are brass centered TGH wheels. The fronts have laser cut stainless, appear to be stainless. No, just regular steel. There's rust on them. Front have laser cut rotors. Rear has, I think those are TGH aluminum rotors in the rear. But I have Chris's truck, so I'm gonna wait for him to send a shipping label. And if he doesn't send a shipping label,
Yes, 24 hours. That's the
I might
rules.
just keep it. Yeah, what truck, Chris? Yeah, no, he called me. He called me in the morning. He was like, "Hey, do you have my truck?" I'm like, "Yep, I'm about 4 hours away though." He's like, "All right, well, I'll get it." I was like, "Yeah, I'll get it back to you. It's not a big deal." But this is their Titan chassis, element-based Titan chassis with all the brass. Fall part out, call dibs. It has a Holmes 650 servo. It has a Holmes Puller 400. Can't tell on the turn count because it's not on the case. It has a Creeper T and appears to be a Boom Racing prop shaft. Stock element front drive shaft. Looks like an axial wild bore rear drive shaft. Has a brazen accessory tray mounted to the Creeper T for his receiver and speed control, which are zip tied in.
Was it aluminum or titanium?
Aluminum.
Dang. I could have hooked them up with the titanium
It
one.
has what appears to be a G-Speed panhard mount and a Holmes TGH servo winch that he changed the motor in to a different motor. But so yeah, that's the breakdown of Chris's Class 2 truck for anybody who didn't know his secrets. Do they still make that body? He said they will be making more of them or having more of them made. I think they're going to do like a V2 of it. This is one of the originals, and the roof is broken on this actually. But
That's what the sticker's for.
the sticker does not help. It looks like it got sucker punched right here. Right at there either was a sunroof from the factory or they cut in a sunroof and then filled it back in, but it looks like it got sucker punched right at the corner of the sunroof and it cracked it across the sunroof and down to the windshield.
All right, more forensics. What else? What else we got?
It definitely has some sort of 3D printed foams in it. Don't know the brand, but they appear to be white in color, looking through the vent holes in the tires.
Cut them open. Let's find out.
Yeah, they appear to be white. So I don't know what 3D printed foams are white, but is that cast 3D printed modified sand scorcher. It was I believe it was a sand scorcher that Westmade is the one that modifies these bodies for them and builds the beds and stuff. So I would check with Westmade. Buckwheat is cool, but I still feel like there's something sweet about a Chesney Special carbon body. I agree. I love my Chesney carbon bodies. I was a little bummed that the bed grenaded on my Class 2 truck, but it took a big ass tumble to do it. So Wes wants the Carfax. Yeah. What's up, Jake? I'm glad to see the Hawaiians made it back home too.
Hey.
Yes, it is a Westmade body. All of the TGH Buckwheat bodies are Westmades. This truck does sit on its side with these 3D printed foams in it, though. It's got appears to be SSD C-hubs. Has brass knuckles, brass truss, and brass link mounts on an SSD center with aluminum tubes. I think those are aluminum tubes. I don't want to scratch it to find out. Rear axle is a factory element axle. Tim Thompson's in here. What's up, buddy? Glad to see you. So that's my overview of Chris's Class 2 truck. What's the wheelbase? I don't know. Where's my tape measure? Who stole my tape measure? I don't even know where. I know where one should be. Right here. Got it. Wheelbase is just over 12 and a quarter. Less than 12 and a half, but more than 12 and a quarter. 12 and a couple of lines. Call it 12.4. It's not 12.8. No, definitely not.
Tim, if you're going to come back, I got about half of a truck for you. You just have it.
Yep. We can make it happen. Dead man switch is on the battery. Is the battery still in? Oh, that's a good question. I don't even know where his battery's mounted at. No, the battery is not in it. It gets mounted on the skid next to the transfer case. It's not in it. There's a BR Mini.
It's a good thing that wasn't in his camper or in your camper because it's still being there 4 months from now.
Yeah. I'm ready to go back to Disney though because I woke up to frost this morning.
Ew, disgusting. Actually, speaking of going back, I know I'm gonna lose you at the first half of this, but I think I want to take a week. I want to do, since Bentonville, the mountain bike deal is like 45 minutes from there. I think I want to do that for a couple days and then go to the Ultra 4 race.
There is no Ultra 4 race there next year.
Oh, of course. All right, never mind. Scratch that. I guess I'm taking the week off, mountain biking, hopefully not breaking anything, and then crawlapalooza, I guess.
Yeah. Disney, both Disney and J Oklahoma are not on the Ultra 4 schedule next year. But you know what is on the Ultra 4 schedule next year? Badlands. And it's
Okay.
2 weeks before Axial Fest. And they are racing the quarry. So it is going to get it should change the terrain a little bit for Axial Fest. So that should be pretty cool.
Maybe I'll come up for Axial Fest.
You should. Need Brett to come back to NorCal and bring Wes. I did enjoy my time up there. Be nice to get back out there. If I do though, it would be for Axial Fest West. But I don't want to do it at the current location because it looks pretty lame.
What about Pearland by the Fire?
That would not be a bad idea,
I'll
but
throw something else into the mix for next year.
Proline by the Fire is like, a couple weeks before Crawlapalooza, and for me to get to California back to Indiana, and back to Oklahoma, and back to Indiana. I will probably be at King of the Hammers again this year.
Okay, maybe that'll be my thing.
Do your overlanding thing and just camping the Lexus out in the desert somewhere.
Like I said, if I drive that out there, I'm gonna put a car cover over it. I'm gonna park it.
It's
Car
just
cover.
dust. It's just dust.
Just dust. I've seen
So as
just
long as
dust.
so as long as you just blow dry it before you leave.
I'm gonna have to
Take a battery powered leaf blower with you and just leaf blow it off. Have it ceramic coated before you go, and then just leaf blower it off when you get there.
I'm not too worried about that. It's the sediment in the like cowl area.
You got a cabin filter; it'll be fine. Just change your cabin filter.
Car cover's pretty cheap.
True.
Yeah, I don't know.
Is
Burning
Pulling by the
Man. I'll
Fire
just
still
do
happening?
that. I'm just gonna do
Ugh,
Burning Man.
gross. No thanks.
Mud Man.
Yeah.
Mud sculpture.
I haven't heard any rumors that Proline by the Fire might not happen anymore. I mean, it seemed like they had a pretty good event turnout, so I don't think they would cancel that. But yeah, I mean, there has been years where King of the Hammers wasn't dusty, also, but it usually is. I've heard Axial Fest might die for years. Yeah, that was a rumor for a long time too. And every year at Axial Fest, they say they're not going anywhere, and that they've typically already got next year reserved. At least for Axial Fest Badlands, anyway, they've had the next year already reserved, and they tell you the dates of it during Axial Fest. So I think it'd be pretty obvious if they decided not to do it anymore, because they wouldn't tell you that they're doing it. So, but at least unlike Crawlapalooza, they'll make at least more than one post about it 2 months before the event. That was pretty bad. Pretty bad for event promotion. Oh man. Interested now that Proline by the Fire and Axial Fest are now both under Horizon being their own event. But Proline is its own company, and Axial is its own company. Just because they're owned by Horizon, they're still ran separately. So it's not like Proline and Axial are in the same building. So wanting to make it to Badlands and one other next year. Badlands, Axial Fest Badlands is a fun event. Tim, how's it going, man? Getting good seeing you over the weekend. It's always a good time with you guys. I just heard Lexus. Wes got a gray Lexus? Yes, Wes has a gray Lexus. Horizon is still outlaying some money for both. Yeah, but it's marketing money, so you either pay taxes with that money or you spend that money, so you just spend it. God dang, man, these edges on this cage are sharp. It looks like there's these little prongs on the back of the cage, like winch points. There's one on the roof you can see, and then there's this one here and this one here. It looks like they were cut with a set of bolt cutters, just lopped off. So it's like a V, and it's super sharp on the ends. I'm gonna do him a favor and knock the sharpness off of those before I send it back to him.
That's a secret, man.
That's a freaking hazard, is what it is. And they welded it with the bed in because there's weld burn marks in the bottom of the bed. Weld splatter burns. This cage is
probably one of those. Hey, I have a comp in a day. I need this cage for points. All right, I got you.
It's just shoe gooed in too. So
Speaking of Lexus, one thing I did, I'm usually pretty good about this, but man, packing up, I was kind of tired and ready to hit the road. On my panel on the inside, it turns out this winch hook kind of just vibrated. So there's just like this nice like marring on some of the plastic. I'm like,
Dang it! Can't have anything
cover
nice.
cover everything in a blanket, make it look like a bunker. I don't know.
Yeah,
That was the only thing I didn't cover up, and I can't have
yeah.
nice things. I
No.
can't. It's
Yeah,
not that bad, but
Tommy, yeah, that was definitely us. My green Jeep, and then Wes's gray Lexus. Yeah, we went down by the Spillway one. I took the Hawaiians with me in the Jeep, and Wes had
the
Austin and Ashley from
Washingtonians.
Washington. Yeah, so we went down to Spillway one, showed them around there, and then we went down to the waterfall Spillway two, and then over to Little Blue, and then back up and out of there. That was on Thursday evening.
Tim, speaking of 6x6s, I'll give you a count, Brett, like for inventory, but I think we can put a 6x6 option on the high low.
Okay.
I just have it like a selectable tab. I don't think we need a whole special thing.
I'll do a 6x6 section. Then we'll put the high-low 6x6 and the C1 Pro 6x6 in there whenever that's ready.
Okay.
Maybe they should invest money in their inventory and POS system. They're still struggling with issues. I've never had an issue ordering from Horizon, but I don't order that much from Horizon, so I have had some ProLine orders take a while to process, though.
Yeah, I think
White Frontier on the other side of the water crossing. Oh, okay. I did see you over there. I saw there was a couple. I think there was a couple people fishing too, wasn't there? But Leaf
the
Spring
others.
6x6.
Oh man,
Saying
it's
the
making
harbor.
it difficult now.
He's talking about the Green Beast.
Oh,
I think.
So I was talking to Adam, is the local guy who owns that. I was like, "Hey, you want me to take that to crawlapalooza and put it on our table?" He's like, "I don't really want to sell it." So I don't know. I didn't take it down there. It is sitting like right here though.
Can't see it, but it's there.
It's there. It's there.
Yeah. My Ford Ice body has quite a few new scratches on it. After the night run, I don't know how much Schumann drove it, but it definitely got driven.
Yeah, he was kind of ripping around. He was carrying this like huge lamp,
The Icon lamp from Harbor Freight.
and at one point he was standing on this tall ledge with it like this. And he's like, "Come on, guys, let's take a picture." And I go, "Come on, guys, the lamp off the Pixar logo wants a picture." He's like, "Oh, F off," and then he walked away. And it's the funniest thing ever. Because he's walking around with the lamp like this. I was like, "It's the lamp from the Pixar logo." Oh, it was a good time.
Still got to put the new axle housings in. I accidentally bought Friday night. Tim walked up to the Crawler Canyon trailer and come back with a handful of Vanquish parts. He's like, "Gosh dang it, got me again." I'm glad they didn't have anything I needed because I would have spent money I didn't want to spend too. I'm gonna order a set of megalithics as soon as I can find them in stock somewhere. I'll order a set of megalithics. I watched them do some pretty interesting things. So one thing I will say is next year I'm not bringing a Sorka Class 2 truck to Crawlapalooza.
Oh yeah,
I will definitely be building a purpose-built truck for that next year.
just like a cabber.
Got to cheat with the cheaters, man.
Dude, yeah.
Save that money for the gas tank for the Jeep. That's the other thing is I will not be driving the Jeep down there again next time. Jeez, crickets.
Dude,
I was expecting 14 miles to the gallon. Bro, that thing was like 10.9. I'm like, you're killing me, Smalls. Like 250 miles, an 18-gallon tank. I'm like, or putting 18 gallons in the tank every 250 miles. I mean, this is ridiculous.
Dude, that was the 80. That's how the Land Cruiser was.
Dude, I was stopping every 2.5 hours to put gas in the fucking thing.
I only had to stop to pee. I filled up once. That was literally, I think that was the cheapest road trip I've. And granted, I'm like coming down, I got 18 average. Going up, I got 17.
So
But which
very
is dog doo doo. All right, I get it. But when you're coming from the 10 to 12 mile,
yeah. Oh no, I already lost a headphone. We got 20 minutes left. That's no bueno.
well, did I charge that?
Yeah. So the difference between 74 miles an hour and 77 miles an hour was a whole mile to the gallon. So I'm like, okay, so 70 to 75 is how fast we're going to drive. And we're just going to get there when we get there. And I had to fill up 4 times each way. There was one time each direction where I stopped for fuel early because I had, 90 miles left on the tank, but I didn't have 90 miles left in the bladder or the stomach. So I needed something to eat. I had to pee, and I might as well get fuel. But other than that, I ran till the gas light came on, and I filled up 4 times each way. How was the road noise? The road noise wasn't that bad. I had the hard top on it, so and I'm used to all terrain or mud terrain tire noise, and it's got mud terrains on it. But I'm used to the mud terrain tire noise, so that doesn't bother me. Jetta TDI Sport Wagon, 40 miles to the gallon, run it side by side when you get to it. Yeah, I used to have a TDI Jetta, and I got in the 50s with it. And
that really red, it was red, right?
Gray. I had a red Jetta, but that was a 1.8 turbo. But I had a gray 6-speed TDI Jetta that was like 50 miles a gallon on the highway, which was super cool.
Yeah, but Dieselgate.
Yeah. Yeah, that Dude, was at the time when
I don't care what they fibbed about. I don't care what they fibbed about. 55 miles a gallon.
How bad
why are you stressing
actually be if it's getting 55 miles to the gallon when other vehicles are in the 30s? So whatever. Yeah. Tire noise, just turn up the radio. That's exactly what I did. Just turned up the radio. So it wasn't that bad. Side-by-side rentals are not, the side-by-side rentals are not cheap. Assuming you don't wreck them, it's about $500 a day or $750 a day, so it's not that big of a deal. But when you break them, it gets very expensive very quickly.
And if you're trying to climb stuff at Disney, I would assume an axle shaft. Maybe a diff if you're a knucklehead.
Yeah, and it's easy to blow tires because if you're just cruising at 25, 30 miles an hour and you smoke a rock, it's gonna blow a tire. So, yeah. I know that certain off-road tires can drone on the highway. They basically all do, but again, I'm used to it. I just turn the radio up. It was the nice thing was the cruise control works in the Jeep, so I just set the cruise at 70 or 75, depending on what road I was on, and just drove. The Jeep drives fine on the highway. It wasn't an issue about driving weird or anything, but just not super comfortable seats, not super comfortable suspension, and not the best stereo system, where my truck is all 3 of those things. So,
dude, those are all the differences.
Yeah.
I kind of regret ever driving a vehicle that has the adaptive lane assist cruise.
Dude, I'd turn that crap right off. That'd be terrible.
driving that Subaru to scale nats, man, that was nice.
Yeah, I don't know.
It was pretty nice. Like that car would come to a stop and then resume by itself, and it would just keep. It was pretty comfortable.
Yeah, that'd be weird. I don't know. I felt like the driving the Jeep there, I felt like a Tesla having to stop all the freaking time for fuel.
200, 250, that's about right. Except
Yeah,
you
but
fill up in 5 minutes, though.
yeah, yeah. It took 3 minutes to fill up and get back on the road versus
that,
a Tesla having to sit there for half an hour.
that little dunk in the water would have taken her out, too.
Yep, yep,
Actually,
absolutely.
dude, thinking about it, I don't see too many Rivians advertising water crossings.
Um,
Do they have a X amount of depth of water they can forward, or do they
I feel like
advertise
I
that?
have seen. I feel like I have seen
Like
a
maybe a
video
stream.
outlining that,
Hmm.
but I don't know. It's not built for comfort. What? Who'd have thunk that? Just glad it made it to and from without incident. Yeah, I didn't expect to have an issue driving there and back. If I expected to have an issue driving there and back with it, I absolutely wouldn't have taken it because I know my truck will go there and back. So it wasn't a worry that I wasn't going to make it there or back. It was just a worry whether I was going to break it while I was there, if I could control myself or not, which I did. So curious how's your Jeep do with wind in the Ozarks? Haven't taken my JK out of Illinois, Indiana yet. The worst part about the drive was the fact that I couldn't use overdrive. Even though it's a Rubicon with 410s, I had to have it in third gear. So about 3,000 RPM the whole time. It's not any worse in the wind than when you get behind a semi or next to a semi. I mean, they're not aerodynamic vehicles, so it's whatever. Long trips can sometimes be nerve wracking. Yeah, they can be, but like I said, I've had the Jeep long enough, and I haven't had any issues with it that I trust it enough. I said if I didn't trust it, I absolutely wouldn't have taken it. My wife's got a 2021 Grand Cherokee. I could have taken that too. So I could have made her drive the Wrangler to work on Thursday and Friday, and I could have taken her Grand Cherokee, or I could have taken my truck. So, but I was pretty sure the Jeep would make it there and back. So, and it did. But now it's going to be parked for a few days because I don't want to drive it anymore.
I would say if you plan more trips than that, get some of those Schulman seats. You familiar with those Schulman?
Uh-uh.
They're like they're a little bougie, but they're comfy, and you can get heated, cooled seat options.
I almost stopped. Well, I stopped at a truck stop and I went inside and I got a hot dog and went to the bathroom.
You get
And
the
well, I
the
went to the
wooden.
bathroom, and then I got a hot dog. But I found a heated and cooled seat cover,
Oh, I see.
but it was $80, and I'm like,
You strike me as more of the little
lumbar pad.
wooden, no, the little wooden
Oh
roller
no,
pads.
no, 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 no.
Oh
So
man,
Midwest Championship at Disney next spring. You set it up. I'll be there, man. Missed everything. What truck you holding, Brett? This truck is Chris Schumann from TGH's truck, and it got left in my Jeep at Crawlapalooza, and I left at 6 a.m. and I wasn't about to go try to find his Airbnb wherever the hell it was to try to give him his truck back. So
how
I'm gonna have to ship it to him.
I barely remember you leaving. How cognitive was I? when you were,
You sat up in bed, and
uh,
then you're like, oh, Bear already took your bed, and then I left. Yeah. Went on a 5 hour trip on my buddy's Jeep once. Yeah, yeah. I just drove mine 24 hours
he
in
said
four
he
days.
said once.
Yes, once. Yeah.
All
I use
caps.
my heated seats more for my back than the cold. Yes, absolutely. I use my heated seats in my truck all year round because of my back. Next trip we went in my 170 Sprinter so we could talk. That's not a bad idea. I will definitely be taking the truck there next time, not the Jeep.
I bet you that sprint. Well, it's the Sprinter. Is that all-wheel drive or just front?
I think they're the big sprinters are rear wheel drive.
With the
Just
big
lost
two
another.
liters. Oh,
So I guess let me know if it starts echoing.
you're louder, but
Oh, okay.
you're good on my end.
All right. Let us know in the comments if it's echoey. Mercedes dually, yeah. So that's not the front wheel drive ones. The littlest ones and the Ford Transit Connects are front wheel drive. They make sprinters in both 2 and 4 wheel drive models. Yeah. Jeff's Rubicon was fairly comfortable. Jeff's Rubicon is also like 13 years newer than mine, or 15 years newer than mine.
It's a JL.
It's a Gladiator.
Oh, yeah, those are nice.
Yeah.
I wanted to hate, and then one of our buddies got a JL, and I was like, all right, this is pretty comfy. He threw 37s on it, and it was still like, it was up to 7 speed. I don't remember
8.
what train. 8.
Yeah.
It didn't care about 37s.
Yeah.
I was like, all right, this is kind of nice. That had double the gears of my Land Cruiser.
My 5-speed definitely, or my automatic, I think it's a 5-speed in mine. It definitely cares about 37s. Even though it's got 410s in it from the factory, it needs like 538s or better. Oh well, it is what it is. I'm just gonna keep rocking it. I just won't take it on that far of a road trip. The shit part about it is I could have got the exact same fuel economy.
Trailered.
I could have trailered it and got the same fuel economy.
You just have to make wider corners, that's all.
Yeah, we'd have had an extra vehicle and trailer at the campground.
The actually, man, that main road over to the spillway, they have that all cleared out. You could have just parked the trailer and stuff there.
I think they had it all cleared out because this coming weekend is Crawloween there.
Oh, okay.
So it'll be full of campers then.
They cleaned up that area pretty nice.
Yeah. They had a bunch of Ultra 4 guys parked in there too a couple weeks ago. So, but anyway, we got about 8 more minutes here tonight. Yeah, it was a good time. We're all back in one piece. I think the only people that are not back home yet are Ashley and Austin, which they may be home now.
Yeah.
But they weren't leaving until today. So
They spent an extra night out on the town.
yeah. Where'd they go, to Tulsa? I think they went to Tulsa.
I think so, yeah. I seen she posted a Hard Rock
Yeah.
pic. I think that's where the Hard Rock's at.
Yeah, I think so too. Hopefully, if all goes well, I'll be bringing a beater XJ on 35s next year. So I know a couple of guys with 35s on their XJs, and a lot of guys, if it's a trail beater or whatever, are running the UTV stickies, like the MRT stickies, because they're way freaking cheaper than full size vehicle stickies, but they're not rated for the weight of a Cherokee. So like, number one, driving a sticky on the road is a bad idea, but driving a sticky that is not rated for the weight of a Cherokee on the road is also a really bad idea. So if it's a trail wheeler, then it might be an option worth looking at. Bailed early, was wore out and needs some more time with the Sporty. I was wore out too, for multiple reasons, but yeah, it's always a good time though. I slept like a rock last night, that's for sure.
Yeah, I think I laid
As soon as
down.
my head hit my own pillow, I was like, oh, crashed.
I laid down and I was like, man, this Bathurst is so much nicer. And I was out.
Yeah. I think next year we should probably just get an Airbnb.
I was gonna say we could probably explore some. seemed like there's some good deals on the water to be cool. It'd actually be cool to find one close to that. Not the Cove, but what was the what's the other uh, patio bar we went to, but we left. I don't
Sun,
know, Sunset or something.
Sunny's Bar and Grill.
Sunny's, yeah. It'd be cool to get something like walking distance to that. Would be cool.
Yeah. Yep. It was great
Well,
watching a guy blow the rear end out of his Jeep during a C3 run. I wish I would have seen that. Kiddo passed out cold during the awards. Yeah, he was slumped over in his chair during the awards. he was wore out. Man, the sun was just, blazing hot all day long. Couldn't have
yeah,
asked.
some of those courses with the exposure, man,
Yeah.
you got to take a break.
All 3 Class 2 courses were 100% sun.
Yeah, you got to take a break. That's all I was saying. Either we get in line or we go back to the truck and take a break.
Yep, absolutely. Wes DM'd you some pics. So check for pics from Checkered Past. Yeah, I wish I would have seen somebody breaking their Jeep. I always like watching that shit. I always feel bad for them, but I like watching it.
Probably like a 1-to-1.
Yeah, I assume so. Yeah, Tim, your boy did do really well. We had quite a bit of success down there. Team driver Jake Ferkel cleaned up with awards too. He had what, like five or six trophies.
Yeah, I took a pic. I'll post it.
Yeah,
Driver number 80 every
I think he
every couple of minutes.
class, so that was cool.
Do what?
I think he podiumed in every class. So
I think so. He's a beast, man. He gets in that zone.
Yeah.
He's a good driver.
Yeah.
I was joking around. I was like, he's getting a raise.
We don't pay him, but he's getting a raise.
Team discount's been upped.
Yeah.
For him only.
Yeah. No, that event, like I said, is more of a go-to because of the group of people than anything else. We get so many of our team drivers down there, and then we all just freight train through the courses together. We had, 8 to 10 trucks in a line, and we all just, heckle each other and walk through the courses together, and it's fun.
It's like the genuine part of the hobby, I feel.
Yeah. And then when people decide to be a Karen and whine and cry, we all make fun of them all together at the same time when they're 20 feet behind us. I didn't let up for the rest of the day, man. I was speaking loud enough that he could definitely hear me for the rest of the day. And I don't feel bad about it at all.
I would hope none of my drivers act like that. I'd be like, hey man, like it's whatever. Like we're here.
Yeah. Yep. Night, Tommy. Thanks for checking in. Thanks for hanging out with us. Yeah, got about 2 more minutes of bullshitting here tonight, and then I'm gonna get home and go to bed again and come back and get cracking first thing in the morning again tomorrow. I'll probably be here by 6:30, 6:45 tomorrow morning with machines on and running, so.
Yeah, that's pretty accurate. I don't know if it benefits. I don't know the ins and outs of YouTube, but I see we got almost as many thumbs up as the viewers. If you haven't gave us a thumbs up, we'd appreciate it.
Yeah, definitely appreciate it. I think how many orders we're waiting for you? I think I only have like 10 right now that are still pending. Jake, we were just talking about you.
Hey, he woke up.
He woke up. He made it. No, we were just talking about how many chains you had on at the awards.
We were just talking about how you joined us and haven't liked our stream yet.
Not many people left with brazen chassis because we didn't really take a whole lot to sell. That's one thing we didn't really do this year was take a whole lot of stuff to sell. We did talk to a lot of people at the tent, but attendance at the campground was pretty slim this year. I feel like a lot more people got Airbnbs than stayed at the campground. Where last year, I think there was a lot more people staying at or around the campground.
Yeah.
So a lot of people were just there for the nightly awards, and then they booked it back to their Airbnbs or restaurants or whatever. And so there were definitely people at the tent. We were definitely hanging out talking, but we didn't really sell a whole lot of stuff.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, we're going to go ahead and get out of here for tonight. I'm going to go home and go to bed, and we'll be back next Monday, and I'll let you know then if I have shipped this truck back to Schumann or whether I have caught this.
The saga continues.
The saga will continue next week. If the truck is the thumbnail for next week, you'll know that I did not send it back to him yet. I'm just going to wait for him to send me a return label, and if he doesn't send me a return label, then it's my truck. I'm not going to remind him about anything. I sent him a picture of it today on the course, so he knows I have it. He knows it's here, but we'll see how long it takes him to want it back.
Cool. I see a couple more thumbs up. Thanks.
Yeah. We actually have more thumbs up than people watching now, so that's a good thing.
Oh, no, everyone's dipping. All right.
Yeah.
That's our sign.
We're out of here for tonight. We'll see you next Monday, and thanks for checking in.
Yeah. See y'all later.
Later.